Alright, this first video is full of me figuring out how to use my video on my relatively new computer. Hi, I'm Jessie Haynes. I am an author. I write in a variety of genres. The story that I'm working on right now, the novel, is definitely a high fantasy novel. I'm also working on a flash fiction anthology that has different kinds of fantasy, science fiction as well. I live there, so that's why I'm starting there with my first published releases. I am going to be doing these videos more regularly. I would love to say they're going to get better than this, but it's mostly just me talking to you so that if you are interested, we can have these conversations. The first conversation we're going to have is about my current work in progress. It's called New MGMT on my blog, as in New Management, and I'll get more into that later, but the crux of that is that within this story, the current management is a god that, the creator of this universe, of this world in my story, has retired, and there will be a new god, a de facto god, because the physics of my universe will be unraveled. So, new management is putting it lightly, unless of course you've been through an actual management change, and then you know the physics of the universe do unravel. So, that's why. Right now, I'm about 22,000 words into my first draft. Don't get too excited, they are terrible words. It's all beginning. I'm just now starting on the middle. I'm beginning in the middle. I'm towards the end of the beginning. I've introduced a lot of characters in my story. They all have different conflicts, different needs, different problems, and they're all coming together right now. That being said, anything in the story right now has no guarantee it will survive, because what really the story is about are the themes and the deeper questions that are explored, and the characters are vehicles for that. Not to be said that they aren't real people to me. I love my characters. I hope you'll love my characters. They are people, and everything that that means, which for me is flaws, weaknesses, deep needs. They're people. So the themes are what will remain or change or evolve, but they are what drive me to write, hopefully you to continue to read, that and good storytelling. And right now I want to talk about a big theme that is meshing with a lot of the other themes in my story, and that is what happens when your morals aren't in a vacuum anymore. On my blog I've been talking about my morals, my beliefs, my deeply held themes, and for the most part I live a pretty good life and I haven't had many of my morals tested. No one has ever murdered my child, thank goodness. So I don't have to decide if I really think that I should be still for this person's redemption, not for vengeance. That's my belief. No vengeance. But no one has ever done something so heinous to me that I have been drawn to question my need for vengeance. It's all hypothetical. Hypotheticals, vacuums, these are great for really good sounding morals. But if somebody came and murdered my child, I even know hypothetically that my morals would not be in that vacuum anymore, and I would be thinking deeply about how I felt about this. So, my characters, my people, they aren't going to be in a vacuum. There is no vacuum for the morals in my story. Real life may be full of boring, but story life, that is a lot of stuff happening. If you've ever watched your favorite show and wondered, hey, how does Buffy deal with every week being an apocalypse? Because she's not real life, and it's way more interesting that the world is always ending. And just like that, your morals don't get to rest. People talk about resting on your laurels. You ain't resting on your morals. There is some really bad stuff happening. I have murder. I have, okay, lots of murder. Lots of death. Life and death are very important things in my fiction. The demarcation of life is marked with death. And no matter what paranormal and fantasy setting you put that in, it's an important thing that I like to explore and what it means in my world. Magic exists in my world, but magic is very much a metaphor for emotion. I use it as a vehicle of metaphor for emotion. So while death may not be the same as death, the concept of death is still very integral to the themes of my stories and the things that happen with my characters. So with that being said, morals in a vacuum. So my question to you is, what is something that is a deeply held belief that you know that if it was this moral and it wasn't in a vacuum, that it might cause you to stop and say, that was great, but this is now. I gave an example. I said that if someone murdered my daughter, it would be hard for me to think, oh, well, this person needs to be redeemed. And I'm saying it now, and that is heart-wrenching. I love my daughter desperately. But I'm not experiencing it, and I'm not writing a scene about it, so I'm not getting very deep into it. And I'm grateful for that, because that is a painful thing that I do not want to experience. If you've experienced that, I'm so sorry, and you totally don't need to talk about that if you don't want to. But what's a moral that you haven't had tested? That you know that outside of its nice cushy vacuum where it sounds good, that it wouldn't be so good. I don't know how I'd actually feel. I'd like to think that I would make the choice, but once this moral is out of the vacuum, I don't know, it would test me, because that's what's happening with my characters. And interestingly enough, I said there was no vacuum. I have a particular character who had a literal definition of a vacuum, and it's the ending of that vacuum and jumping right into having to deal with morals and what it means to be a person and all of these things is a very real, visceral thing happening to them. So the things that we might face over a long course of time as we grow up, this person is a newborn adult at one point in the story, and still in the beginning when this is happening. So just to give you an idea, shit gets heavy really soon. And those morals, there is no vacuum. The morals didn't even matter before. It was just very single-minded for this character. And now there is no vacuum, there is no safety net, and they have to make these decisions. So, as I said, my question to you is, what moral would scare the hell out of you if it wasn't in a vacuum? So, video responses, comments, however you want to talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But if you do, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. I'll watch your videos, read your comments. I'll look at everything. I'm very interested. So thanks for listening, and I hope that this gives you an idea of whether or not you'd like to avoid these videos in the future. If you want to chat with me about things, if you're wondering why I keep looking to the side, no one's going to kill me. My daughter's taking a nap. The daughter that's not getting murdered. So I keep thinking I'm hearing her. It's my very old tinderbox house settling. So sorry about that. But, so, there you go. I am full of digression, distraction, and conversation. So if these are things that you can enjoy, and if you find that you care about things that I care about, please join me regularly for these videos, which I will try desperately to keep around 5 to 10 minutes. But who knows? We'll see. So I'm blogging about the currently titled New MGMT, New Management. It's a high fantasy story that should wrench your heart and be very interesting. I'll tell more. I post snippets on my blog. I talk about my progress, and I will continue to post videos like this. I'm not sure how often I'm going to do them, but I would like to do them pretty often. This is more fun than typing a blog post. I hope that you get something out of it. So remember the question, put it in the comments or do a video response. What moral would scare the hell out of you if you didn't have it in a vacuum anymore? Discuss. Alrighty, bye. Oh, by the way, it's Jessie Haynes, JESSIEHAYNES.typepad.com, or you can find me here on YouTube. So, thanks for listening. Bye.